Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it may be when you guys are tuning into this broadcast. I am your international award winning author, literary extraordinaire. And for the purpose of this, I have to start referring to myself as MWRD candidate to Neil M. Jackson. And I want to welcome you all to a very special edition of Inspirational Talk. And we're actually going to kind of hijack this show for the next 6 weeks. So if you all saw what I put on the post itself, hey, Miss Portia, if you saw what I put on the post in terms of the caption, what I am doing for the next 6 weeks. So I'm hijacking Tuesday's inspirational talk with Tennille, and we are going to do a 6 week series on the Did You Know? We're going to just call it Did You Know? Okay. And this is the MWRD edition. And so for those of you who do not know what MWRD stands for, it stands for Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. Okay. And so who is in charge of that, or who governs that body, is a board of 9 individuals that's called the Board of Commissioners. Okay. And so I am actually running for that position to be one of the 9. As you all are coming on, please feel free to say hello. Let me know where you're watching from, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. Feel free to say hello and let me know where you are tuning in from. And also, as we always say, be sure to like the video, tag somebody that you believe will benefit from the broadcast, share the video, right? And so, also, I need to note this out loud. For those of you who are watching on Facebook, it is really important to me that you all tag someone, because since I am broadcasting from StreamYard does not give me the ability to actually tag people, right? So, for those of you who typically go live on Facebook, you know that you have the ability to tag somebody. And so when you tag people, they are aware that you're going live. And I do know that you do get notifications or whatever. People do let you know, hey, such and such is going to go live. And so in either case, I am aware of that. But again, feel free to tag somebody, let them know that the show is on. We are going to be talking today. And so again, yes. Okay, Miss Portia, I am definitely going to inbox you after this show so we can meet up. So for those of you who are on Facebook and you're able to see, Portia says, I want to sign for us. What she is referring to is the fact that as running for commissioner, which is what this show is about. Okay, so I'm going to kind of lay everything out for you all in a moment, but I'm going to be talking to you about the whole MWRD thing. And at the end of the day, the whole point is that from now through March 6th, we are walking around. There's a team of people walking around collecting signatures. We are not doing electronic signatures at this time. That's not accepted. So we actually have to collect physical signatures, and it's for people throughout of all Cook County. And so I want to get those signatures. If you are registered to vote, then you register to vote and you live in Cook County, then your signature would definitively help me to get my name on the ballot. So let's kind of back up, rewind, so that way if somebody's just coming in, they're like, well, what did I miss? We have not officially started, right? So again, what we're doing, we're kind of hijacking the Tuesday version. If you guys follow me, you know that typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do inspirational talk with Tennille. But for the next 6 weeks, we are hijacking that show and we are doing a Did You Know MWRD edition. One of the reasons I decided to do this is because for the last couple days, because again, the petition signing began officially on January 13th, which was this past Thursday. And so being out, walking around, talking to different people, canvassing, what I'm finding is that many people are unaware of the MWRD, right? They don't really know what MWRD is, what it means. And so, to really, there are some people who don't want to sign until they understand more about what this whole MWRD is. And so, if you guys know me, you know I am all about trying to explain things, trying to do what? Educate and empower us. And so I said, well, you know what? What I want to do is I want to take the time to kind of walk anybody who wants to tune into this show to kind of understand, have a better understanding of not just what MWRD is, because I'm not running to work for MWRD. I am running to be a commissioner. Hey, Miss Lisa. Yes, absolutely. I inadvertently, in some of the canvassing that I did, I was on the west side. I believe it was on Thursday, and I ended up running into Miss Lisa and her parents, and all three of them signed the petition for me. So I was so grateful for that. And so what I want to do is kind of take these next 6 weeks, and we're going to break it down into small chunks, right? Like each show will probably only be about 30, 45 minutes max. And I want to go into answering different questions and addressing different topics about the whole Metropolitan Water Reclamation District so that we can understand what it is. If you see people walking around with petitions, what it's about. If you've already signed mine, you can't sign anybody else's, right? Like all of those different technicalities, I want to explain that. And again, we're not going to tackle it all in one show because I don't want it to be overwhelming. I want it to make sense. I want for you to understand what's going on. So, over the course of the next 6 weeks, today's show, what I am going to address is probably one of the most one of the most commonly asked questions, which is, why am I running for MWRD, right? Like, what is it that I am looking to accomplish? And so that is the point of today's show. But over the course of the next 6 weeks, so today is that. Next week, we're really going to go into MWRD. So, just in general, I'm going to break it down, right? So, well, I'll put it like this, I'll give you the overview, and every week, we're going to break down one component. So, today is why am I running? We're going to come back to that. Next week, we're going to talk about what it is that we're going to start talking about what the MWRD does, right? So there are three main functions that the MWRD serves. And so next week, we're going to start talking about that. So we'll talk about the first function, which is the fact that they clean wastewater, all right? So that's one of the things that they do. Then another thing that they do is they protect your homes, your businesses, and your neighborhoods from flood damage. And then another thing that they do is they develop innovative ways to reuse and to renew various resources. Okay. So every week, so over the next 3 weeks, that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of break down not just what that means, but what does that mean to you? Okay. Like knowing where because there are 7 different plants, different facilities, MWRD facilities over throughout Cook County, and you need to know, well, it's not that you're going to go to a plant, but it's just something that's good to know, right? You've probably passed some of the plants a million times not knowing what it was. Why? Because if it doesn't apply to us, many times we have the habit of just being able to ignore it. Don't mean anything to me, so I'm not really paying attention to it. But let me tell y'all just a quick funny story. We were coming back from somewhere. I don't remember even where I was, but we were out far south, and I was taking my daughter was getting something done. And so we were out far south. You know what, Lisa? You are more than welcome. For those of you on Instagram, Lisa just says, thank you for this. No one has ever really explained the MWRD. And that is actually one of the reasons for me doing this. But I was picking up one of my daughters, and we were coming back home. And if you guys live in Chicago, right? So when you're on the 9094, or what we call Bishop Ford Highway, and I was getting off at the 130th Street exit going west, I can't tell you how many times I have probably passed this Metropolitan Water Reclamation District plant and never paid attention. But because now this is my world, I'm like, oh, oh, That's okay. So you know what? So now it starts to click and now it begins to make sense, right? So again, over the next 3 weeks after this, so next week is the 25th, and then February 1st and February 8th, we're going to break down the three different or the three main jobs of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. And then we're going to finish up the month. So the 15th and the 22nd of February, we're going to finish it up talking about exactly what the commissioners do, because there are two primary jobs that the commissioners do, which is what I am running for. So number one, the commissioners, they establish policies and procedures to protect the water environment. And then number two, they provide financial oversight of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. Okay. So we're not going to get into all of that right now, but that's what's to come. So that way, throughout, that's going to take us out of this month and all through the month of February. So I wanted to do that. So to go back to Miss Lisa's point when she says no one has ever explained it. Can I tell you, in doing my research, because I told y'all when I first made this announcement that I was running for this office, I told you all I'm taking y'all on the journey with me. So I hope y'all ready to go, right? So this series is really a part of taking you on that journey, helping to educate you, helping to increase your knowledge so that you are more aware, you're more informed about the world around you. Because so many times, what I have noticed is that there are things that we just do because it's what we've always done. So it's either out of tradition, it's what our household has always done. We're just on autopilot, and it's not necessary that we actually know about it, right? We just kind of go with the flow with many things. And then us as a people specifically, a lot of times we are not informed about the issues, about current affairs. We typically, and I'm a part of we, okay? So like prior to the last few years, so like I would say definitely throughout my 20s and probably the bulk of my 30s, I was an uninformed citizen. Like I did my civic duties. I don't know if anybody can identify with what I'm saying. Like I did my civic duties. I knew that I was supposed to vote, so I would go and I would vote. But I remember one day kind of having an epiphany, and I said to my husband, I said, why is it that we just vote for, because whatever the particular thing was, this wasn't like the main, the vote with the president. This was just a general voting thing. And anybody ever see all of those judicial, so all those judges that's on the ballots, you don't know who those people are. That's not really covered, as what Elisa said. You don't really hear about MWRD. Like really the only offices that receive major coverage, president, obviously, and with the one we just had, child, right? So everybody would, for better or for worse, those are four of the most entertaining years. When Donald J. Trump was in office, those were some of the most entertaining years of presidential history. Prior to that, with Barack Obama, you heard a lot about the office, but it had more of a respect behind the office. If put some respect on my name was a person, that's what Barack Obama accomplished while being in office, right? So we hear so much about that office. You hear about your senators, you hear about the representatives. Many of us hear about your aldermen, right? So those are some of the more common, more popular, more in the news, getting media coverage issues. However, they're not the only offices that matter, and they're not the only office that matters to you. But because it's not covered on the media, the mainstream media, and because very few of us, and I'm talking about relatively speaking, understanding that in Cook County alone, there are almost 6 million residents. Okay. So the fact that very few people have actually heard about the MWRD, that gives you to understand that we typically what we get our information from mainstream media, so that if mainstream media isn't covering it, many of us are not taking our phones to go and Google MWRD or whatever the issues are. We don't just take our phones to actually educate ourselves about issues. We kind of just go with the flow of whatever society is presenting us, right? So that if it's not presented on the news, for many of us, it's not going to be presented to our minds. And so, one of the reasons why I am running is because what I do is educate and empower people. Okay. Period. And so, what I want to be able to do is, if elected, I want to take the time to educate our residents. We have a lot of residents within, I just told you guys, right at 6 million residents in the Cook County area. And if I was to venture to say, I would say less than half, probably less than a third of that population even has ever heard of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District. Probably less than that can even tell you what it is that they do or what it is that they're responsible for. Many people hear water and they just automatically think, oh, well, if it's lead in my water, that must be what they do. And it's not. We'll talk next week more so about some of the things that they do when we're talking about the wastewater, right? So there are a lot of things that we don't know. You may see on your bill, depending on where in Cook County you live, where when you're paying for, you'll see like sewage or sewer on your water bill. You don't even really know. So there are a lot of things. So when I was saying earlier about how we do things out of habit or out of routine or without even questioning it, though there are things that happens to us all the time that we're not even aware of. So if we're unaware and we're uninformed, then we don't know that we actually have the power to make change, that our voices actually matter. Like that doesn't just pertain to the days of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Rosa Parks and We Shall Overcome. We still are now those people who are able to make a difference, but you can only make a difference if you are informed. So for me, what I want to be able to do, one of the issues anyway, one of the plans that I have is to help to educate the residents so that they do know what is the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, and not just being able to know what the acronym stands for, but what it actually is and what it is to you, to explain to you why you should care, right? Because here's the thing, once we understand, like once you get, oh, wait a minute, this protecting my home. This is helping my business. This is helping my neighbor. And if you live next door to somebody you know and like, we want to make sure that we okay, right? And so then you may be more likely to help to generate ideas. You may be able to contribute certain things. You may want to get more involved, but a lot of times we don't get involved unless people are literally coming to us, right? And so yes, I will not say, oh, I'm gonna hit all 6 million people in Cook County. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, and I'm being very honest. I'm not. You're not gonna hear me give you 17 different initiatives. Here's a billion things on my list of what I will accomplish upon being elected. I'm not going to do that because I try my best not to promise something that I cannot deliver, right? We have to keep in mind, I'm running for a 2-year term. The reality is that in most offices, I don't care what they are, in most offices, it takes 1 year just to get the transition out your system, just to figure out what it is that you're supposed to do and actually get acclimated to that position. So, no, I'm not going to have a laundry list of things that I am trying to do. I'm going to give you one to possibly two initiatives. So that way, in that 2-year time period, I can actually say, this is what I did. I said this is what I was going to do, and I will be able to prove that this is what I have been able to do over that 2-year time period. A lot of times you will hear people say, you know what, they'll promise you the sun, the moon, the stars, and the rain. And once they get in office, you don't ever see any of that again, right? For me, that is not what I want to do. Whatever it is that I'm telling you I'm going to do, I want to be able to have a realistic goal. So I don't even like to use goals. Y'all know how I feel about that word, but I want to have a realistic objective, so that way that's something that I'm able to accomplish, right? So the fact that what I naturally do is educate and empower, my thing is, why not bring this there? So one of the things I want to do, because again, when I was reading, when I was doing some research on one of the prior elections, right? Again, keep in mind there are right at 6 million residents. I keep saying that number because it's very important. It's well over 5 million residents in Cook County. So for one of the prior elections for this office of commissioner, there were 9 different candidates. 9 over. So out of all 9 candidates, when you added up how many people voted for each of the 9 and you added up the combined total, that only equaled 1.2 million votes for all 9 candidates. There are so many offices, again, some of those main offices, president, senator, Republican, where one person will get at least a million votes. So that number goes to show you just how uninformed people are about this office, or how unimportant they feel this job to be, right? And so that is one of the reasons why I want to run. Understanding in terms of specific initiatives, understanding that I am a member of the Green Party, right? The Green Party, we have 10 core values. And when you look at the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, if you go to their website, which is MWRD.org, they talk about, pretty much they provide their mission statement, and they talk about how they're seeking people who will be able to help them with their solution. They're looking for help with like social responsibility and things of that nature, right? And so when, again, the mission statement itself is rather lengthy. When you read it, it automatically, if you know anything about the Green Party, it automatically aligns with so many of our core values, namely personal and global responsibility. That's what we believe in, right? Mainly future focus and sustainability, so that when we're living on this earth, we're not just making choices that's good for us, but we're making choices that's going to be good for generations to come, right? And then community based economics. And so, one of the things that I know is that in terms of my specific initiative, it probably is going to be something to do with the latter, community based economics, tying in future focus and sustainability, because those two things are directly connected to both MWRD and the Green Party. So that means that I don't have to change who I am. I don't have to become something else, be somebody's puppet. These are already values that I naturally possess. So a lot of times I think when you look at people running for office, it becomes politician-ish when you can tell people lying. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time, like, I'm not a politician. I'm so not. Like, we were talking the other day, and I was saying how I'm not a scientist, so I don't have to. Again, running for MWRD commissioner, that is not that I have to go to. I'm not mixing no wastewater. I don't have to deal directly with this stuff. So I don't have to be a microbiologist. I don't have to be a chemist. I don't have to know pH balance. You know, that is not the job of a commissioner. What I have to do is care about the community, which, if nothing else, I definitively do. And I believe that everything that I've done to date totally shows that. I have to be able to create policies and procedures that's going to be beneficial for the overall good of the organization, right? And or the MWRD, if you want to look at it as a department or whatever. I have a few different organizations that I have established, meaning grassroots. Again, one of the Green Party values is grassroots democracy. And so it's so many things that I have taken from nothing and it has become something. So my point is that if nothing else, being an organizer, I know what it means to be able to establish policies, to be able to look and see what needs to be done and come up with ideas that's going to be good for the overall benefit of that organization. That's what a commissioner does. And then being able to provide financial oversight. I have a master's degree in business administration. Then took a few business classes. I'm a business owner. So, I know a thing or two as it pertains to budgets and financial literacy. And so those are the two core jobs that the commissioners have to do. And so for me, I want to make sure that it's not the same people that's getting certain contracts. It's not the same people that's, getting certain jobs. I want to make sure that all the communities are being serviced. Now, again, I'm not going in trying to make you feel like that I can turn 6 million people around, okay? But I'm just telling you, if you were to ask me what my initiatives are, what I'm looking to accomplish, is definitively going to be something based on the community, making a change within the community. In terms of being able to do it, I am no stranger to it because I used to work for the census. The last two census I worked for. So being literally going door to door, talking to people, finding out what's important to them, being able to make a difference. And I think that that is needed, not just in these quote unquote bigger offices, these bigger positions. I think that if you are going to be an elected official, you have to look at what that means. You're elected by the people. And so to me, that means that you have to know the people in order to serve the people. And to me, that at the greatest, no matter what the title is, what our job is, we are public servants. It is our job to serve the people. And so in either case, you guys, that's really for me why I'm running and what I feel that I can do better, as I've just kind of taken the time to explain, is I can bring more not even exposure, but more education, more awareness of this office, of the department, so the MWRD at large, where when we start to vote, people will start actually understand, oh, you know what, let me not skip this number. You know what, I actually do know who that candidate is, because I think we all are guilty of voting for people that we've never heard of. So if it's an office and you a person that I want to make sure that I cast a vote for somebody, many people, well, if I'm black, I'm gonna vote for the black person, or if I'm a woman, I'm gonna vote for the woman, or if I'm, you know what I'm saying, whatever your connection is, you don't necessarily know anything about it, you haven't heard anything about it, you haven't seen it on the media. So for me, I want to make sure that one of the reasons why you vote for me is because you've seen me, whether you see me in your neighborhoods, canvassing your block. So it's not you, if I was at your door, then it's not far-fetched for you to believe that I would be canvassing other neighborhoods. If you see that I'm coming on here now, and I've been going live educating people about various topics for years. So it's not hard to believe that this is something that I will continue to do when in office. You see what I'm saying? So for me, that's what I want to do better. I feel that it makes no sense that we have so many people in this county, but very few know about what's going on. And so I believe that when we are able to educate people, then that knowledge empowers them to make a change. And so, in either case, that's why I'm running. That's what I'm looking to do better. And so, if you are in Cook County, and specifically, what I'm gonna do is every week I will tell you where you all will be able to meet me, because Cook County is a vast area, and I'm not just looking to be in one part of the area. I'm literally gonna be going all over. Yes, we have volunteers. Not so it's myself. I have a couple people working with me. Then the Green Party at large has members out. But if you are someone someone who has some time, and if you would like to volunteer to help us to collect signatures, then reach out to me. Either comment in the comment section below, or you can inbox me if you're like, you know what, I can't go out and canvas, but maybe I'll take the petition to my church, or whatever the case may be. I'll make sure that I get you 20 signatures, 30 signatures. Then again, you can definitely do that by reaching out to me. If you say, well, I can't volunteer, but I definitely want to sign your petition, as Portia did at the top of the show, let me know that too. She drive. I will come. I will come and get your signature, right? But what I'm going to do every week is I will let you all know where I will be. So if you want to meet up in that area to give me your signature, I will greatly appreciate it. And again, the petition itself is very vague, so you don't have to feel like, oh, the government is coming after me, they taking my information. It's not that. Like, the information that we required on the census forms was way more than this. All this is signing your name, printing your name, and printing your address. That is it. So as long as you are over 18, you are a United States citizen who is registered to vote, then you are able to sign the petition. So this week, if you all are on the west side of Chicago, you can meet me tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be stationed at my church, Carol Divine Temple, 1508 South Millard. And don't worry, I will put the address in the comment section once I'm done. But Carol Divine Temple, 1508 South Millard, that's Chicago 60623. I will be set up there from 6 to 8 p.m. So if anybody is on the west side and you all want to come and meet me and sign the petition, I would greatly appreciate it. And on Thursday, I'm going to be in the Inglewood area. So that's going to be about 63rd Street east of Ashland. So 63rd Street east of Ashland. You'll catch me over in that area from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. So I can't actually tell you exactly where I'm gonna be because I'm gonna be canvassing. So if you just happen to see a random person, it's me and my daughter, we go together throughout the neighborhood. So tomorrow night, Carol Divine Temple, 1508 South Millard, 6 to 8 p.m. And then on Thursday, I'll be in the Inglewood area, 63rd Street, east of Ashland, if you all want to meet up with me from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. The government already knows where you are, girl. So I try to tell people, and just real quick, that's one of the reasons, unfortunately, why our areas are being redistricted as they are, because when the census was out, unfortunately there were so many people who were afraid to give their information, whether it's because they live in foul, or for whatever reason they don't want the government to know who they are, they stand somewhere they're not supposed to stay, whatever the reason may be. There are a lot of people who did not get counted. They did not want to be counted. They wanted to hide. They didn't want their names on the list filled out. We even let them know, you know what? We don't even need your you can just say anonymous. Just give us, the core information, just so that you can be counted. Because what people didn't understand, and again, I didn't just do this in Chicago. The census flew me out to go to Georgia to finish this up as well. We had people all over the country trying to make sure that people were counted. So this is why I'm trying to tell y'all at the time, and we were trying to impress upon the residents, like, your it counts. It matters that you are counted, because if you're not counted, then that's going to affect everything, because it's going to affect how many resources you get in your community. It's going to affect the way that the areas are marked off, so we call that districting. So that's going to then affect how many representatives you get. But again, lack of knowledge is really what people perish by. And so for me, I want to try to mend that gap. So in either case, guys, yeah, they definitely had during the census. And thank you so much for that, Miss Lisa. So if you all want to meet with me tomorrow to sign a petition, Meet me on the west side, 1508 South Millard from 6 to 8 p.m. Miss Lisa has put that in the comment section for me already. And then I will not be going live on Thursday. I got a lot of stuff going on Thursday, but I will be back on Friday. And on Friday's Educated and Empowered, we will be talking about current events. So I'm so excited, even more excited, because this Monday, that is going to be the debut of Dealing with the Aftermath, the talk show. So if you guys know, we've been working together on this anthology, me and four other women, Miss Deatrice Carter, Mary Hale, Patricia Brooks, and Tanya Reeves. And that book will be released sometime this year. But what we have done is we have created a talk show that's based on the book. So any type of real issues that you deal with, whether you're talking about relationships, divorce, situationships, it's complicated. You're talking about death. You're talking about grown kids that get on your nerve. It matters not the issue. We will definitely discuss it. We call them your tissue issues. So we ask that you please mark your calendar. This Monday, we are going to kick off our season, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll be going live on Facebook. And so we ask that you please join us to watch the show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And again, if you enjoyed what you heard, please share the video, tag somebody that you believe would benefit from this broadcast. So you guys have a great rest of your day. And until next time, you stay inspired.